Let me ask you this question. Why are you here? Why are you here to build a prepaid legal business? What is it that you're looking to accomplish? What are your goals? Do you want more time freedom? You want more financial freedom? You want time with your family? You want to retire your parents? Do you want to travel around the world? Well, I would bet that whatever those reasons are, your why for being in this business, I would bet that the means to those ends will require leverage and residual income. If you're always trading your time for money, you probably will never have enough money to retire your parents. You'll probably never be able to take time away to spend with your family or to travel around the world. So if you understand why you're here in the first place, now I need you to understand how leverage and residual income is going to be what's going to deliver you those results. I usually like to talk about what Robert Kiyosaki teaches in his book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, with his cash flow quadrants. And you probably have also heard about his newest book, The Business of the 21st Century. And what Robert Kiyosaki teaches is that you need to find a way to create assets that will keep on spitting off cash flow to you, whether you're still there working or not. That's what wealthy people do. Wealthy people build networks, and they build up assets while everybody else looks for work. Well, here's the deal. Every time you sign up a brand new membership, or anytime somebody on your team signs up a brand new membership, you now have another asset that will throw off that residual cash flow to you month after month, year after year. And every time you recruit a brand new associate on board your team, you have another person that's going to help you to gather more memberships, to gather more assets. But here's the thing. When you come on board into Prepaid Legal, you know the quadrants, the E, the S, the B, and the I. The E stands for employee. So you're trading your time for money working for somebody else. The S, you're self-employed. Maybe you're a doctor, you're an attorney, you own your own small business. The B, you're a big business owner. You've got leverage. You've got people working for you. So even if you're not doing the work, you're still getting paid. The I is an investor. Their money's making them money. Well, the reality is when you join as a prepaid legal associate, you fill out the associate agreement. That immediately puts you into the S quadrant. Now you're a self-employed business owner. You go out and sell a membership, you get paid. Okay? But the key is that you still have to go out and sell those memberships. And that's great. You can dictate your own income. Go out and sell 5 memberships, you make $500. Okay? But here's what's great. If you start building a team and you start incorporating leverage, you're going to now have other people that are out there talking to people that you don't know. They're signing up people that you don't know for the membership, adding to your book of business or your bucket of assets that will pay you month after month, year after year. See, I was very fortunate to be raised by a father who understood and taught me a business principle that most people in this country go to the grave never figuring out. He said, Brian, you go out and sell a house and make a bunch of money. But he said, would you rather work hard or would you rather work smart? He said, wouldn't you rather be the real estate broker and have hundreds of agents out there working for you and get a little piece of action off each one of their sales? Like J. Paul Getty from Getty Oil, one of the first recorded billionaires in America. He said, I'd rather earn 1% off of the efforts of 100 people rather than earning 100% off of his own efforts. See, if you truly want to get ahead, if you really want to get ahead, you've got to have leverage working in your favor. And here's what I want everybody to understand. I want you to think about this. You might have a great job. You might be saying, I'm just doing prepaid legal on the side just to make some extra money. It's not that important. It's not that big of a priority because I've got a great job. I got a secure job. I got a great income. Let me ask you a question. If you're the Michael Jordan at your job, nobody does your job any better than you. You're the best of the best at that job. And you work it hard and you do it that great for 20 years. Will you ever be able to retire 20 years from now from that job with the dream lifestyle that you say that you want? I've asked that question to tens of thousands of people over the years, all across North America, and I never have anybody's hands go up. Nobody ever says, oh, my job will give me what I want. But yet you still go down that road with no light at the end of the tunnel every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, working at that job, knowing that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. But if you work your prepaid legal business and you go out and sign people up for the membership and you go out and recruit other people and you build a team and you've got a whole bunch of memberships being written, eventually, can you imagine if you became a platinum executive director in prepaid legal? You've got thousands upon thousands of memberships, all these associates out there that are out there making incredible incomes, building their businesses, and the more money they make, the more money they put in your pocket as well. You know, making incredible income, but more importantly, you have time freedom and peace of mind, included. Do you understand that your job does not offer that, but prepaid legal does offer that? Prepaid legal doesn't guarantee it because it's up to you to go do the work, but it's incredible knowing that if you just go do it, it's available to you. So what I want you to understand, the key here is taking yourself from the S quadrant where you're starting right now and getting into the B quadrant, getting into a place where you've got leverage and time freedom all together because you do not have to sacrifice your income to be able to have a real lifestyle. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to close your eyes. Picture this. And if you're driving right now listening to this, of course, don't close your eyes. But I want you to visualize whether it be 12 months, 24 months. Let's say it's 24 months from now. 24 months from now. you've got a huge team of associates that you've assembled because you went out and you talked to maybe 100 people on your list and maybe 5 of them signed up. And those 5 people had a list of 100 people and they each signed up 5 of the people off their list. And those 25 people each had their list of 100 and they each signed up 5. And you had 5 and 25 and 125 and it just started to mushroom and grow. And now they've collectively, not you, collectively they've gone out and signed up thousands and tens of thousands of memberships that are on the books that you're getting paid your overrides and your residuals on forever. Can you picture just a few short years from now not having to worry about money, not having to worry about saying no to your kids' field trips, not having to say, no, we can't go get a house that we want to live in or the car we want to drive? Picture that vision in your mind. And the key is if you don't sell yourself on that vision, that you deserve it, that it's possible, and you've got to believe that you're going to do it. If you don't believe you're going to do it, you won't do it. You got to conceive it in your mind. You have to vividly imagine it, ardently desire, enthusiastically work upon it, and it will come to pass. And I want everybody to think about this as well, because as you're out there building your business, some people get off to a fast start, some people get off to a slow start. But you never, ever, ever want to stop understanding the power of this membership. Even if you're not building the business actively at that point in time, never give up the membership. I can't imagine. Sometimes I find people that are associates that get involved not just for the membership, they also sign up as an associate because they see so much value in the membership. They say, I want to pay money to go sell it. I believe in it so much. And the reality is that maybe they don't make the kind of money they were wanting to make. And not only do they put the business aside, but once in a while I see people actually cancel their own membership. And that's always amazed me that somebody was actually going to do something like that. I'm going to give you an example that hopefully will burn into your brain and you'll never let yourself put yourself in this position. There's a young lady over in Northern Virginia that came on board years ago. And I remember she was brought on board. Mr. Darnell Self put her on a 3-way call with me, and we talked, and she got excited and came on board the business. And she went out right away and signed up about 6 people. And a few months went by. She wasn't doing a whole lot, and she got a raise at her job. She got a promotion. She was excited about it. She got a promotion and a raise, something she'd been looking forward to for years. She finally got it. So she actually lost interest in her prepaid legal business because she got absorbed in what's going on in her life. Well, what happened was about 6 months down the road, she actually had canceled her membership. Not only did she stop working the business, she just canceled her own membership. And she lost vesting in her business, because if you don't have the membership yourself and you're not doing 3 sales a quarter, you lose vesting, you lose your prepaid legal business, your membership base, your downline, everything. Well, she did that. Well, a few months after she was out of the business, a few months later, one of those 6 people came alive. He actually had a change for the worse at his job. He got excited about prepaid legal. He said, I'm going to use this opportunity now. And he went out and became an executive director. And he had 6 or 7 executive directors pop in his organization. So they were doing hundreds and hundreds of sales a month. Now, had this young lady who brought him aboard, had she just kept her membership, she would have been able to have overrides and residuals on all that business that was being brought to the table. And that would have been her business for the rest of her life. Everybody here would probably trade seats with her any day of the week just to be in her position to be able to have that growing in underneath of her. But she just didn't keep her membership. So it's so important for us to understand the importance of leverage, the importance of residual income, the importance of staying in the business, never get off the highway. If you take off the exit, don't take the exit ramp. If you ever had to, maybe you get off on a side, just on the side of the road. Just get off to a rest stop, but never leave the super highway of your prepaid legal business. What I'm going to do right now, because I believe so much in residual income, I believe that, the great thing about this business is something happened to me, God forbid, my son is going to be able to be blessed with the residual income that I can pass along. I can will my prepaid legal business. I can will it to my son, and he's going to inherit that residual cash flow that he's going to be able to cash those checks month after month, year after year for the rest of his life. If you want to put you and your family in that kind of a position, you got to, number one, you got to build a team that has got leverage for you. You got to have that residual cash flow is going to come from that book of business that's going to be built by that team, but you also want to make sure you sell the membership right. You got to retain the membership. A membership that stays is a membership that pays. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give you 21 tips of things that I've learned over the years, that if you do these things, you're going to have those memberships stay on the books. They're not going to drop off the membership. They're going to be a happy using customer for a long, long time. And, I've met people in prepaid legal that signed up people for these services back in the 70s and 80s and are still getting paid today, 2 and 3 decades later, because they understood that if I sell it right, I can get paid for many decades to come. So let me do this right now. I'm going to walk you through the 21 tips that you can use to be a great membership gatherer, you can set up a lot of memberships, but you will actually retain those memberships for that lifetime residual income. Number one, you want to make sure that you always remember that retention is directly tied to your income. Give you a statistic that you should always remember. An increase of 10% of your retention rate of your customer base will yield a 35% increase in your income. So if customers are not dropping off, they're not causing a chargeback, you've got greater cash flow now, and on the back end for the residual income, the higher percentage of the residual income you're going to get. That's number one. Number two, retention is also tied to Players Club. So if you're getting your Players Club points in every single month and you're qualifying for $300 or $400 or $500 a month, or even qualifying for the Players Club trip, you got to always remember that if your retention rate is below the company average, you may not be getting that car bonus check. You may not be going on that incredible exotic vacation. So remember that retention affects your Players Club as well. Okay? Next point is that facts tell, stories sell. What do I mean by that? Well, the reality is that you don't go buy a car based on the cubic centimeters of the engine or the pounds of torque. You buy a car not based on the facts, but you buy it on emotion. You buy it based on how you feel, how you're going to feel driving down the road, maybe with the top down or the windows down. So always remember, facts tell, stories sell. When I bought this membership, I listened to the stories of how people used it in their lives so I could apply it to how I will use it in the future in my life. Facts tell, stories sell. Always share with them stories about how they will use it in their lives, because the more they use it, the more they're going to keep it. Okay? Next point is use the membership yourself. See, you might say, oh, I want my member to use it, but you as a marketing associate, you've got to use a membership, because if your belief is higher, you're going to be a much more effective marketer or salesperson of the membership to the people you're talking to. And you're also going to have those stories. You say facts tell, stories sell, but if you don't have stories of how you personally have used it yourself, you're not going to be as effective. So you want to make sure that you also use the membership right away. Get your will done, call them with a question that you want to get answered. That way you've got some stories at the tip of your tongue. In addition to that, get your new member to use the membership. Again, of course, they get a several $100 value in getting that will done at no extra cost, and they get it updated every single year. So you want to make sure they get their credit monitoring turned on with their identity theft shield service with Kroll. So these are things that if you get them to use it, they're not going to say, well, I'm spending this money every single month, and I'm not using it. I haven't gotten any value out of it, so they would cancel it if they haven't used it. So get them to use it. You use it, and get them to use it. In addition to that, under-promise and over-deliver. Here's what I'm talking about. You don't need to tell them that they're never going to pay another dime for an attorney, because it's just not true. That's over-promising. You don't need to tell them that they're going to go to court and get you off of a speeding ticket. That's not what is always going to happen. What you need to do is share with them exactly what the services cover and let them know what Title V actually will be. They might have a situation where they get some Title I consultation, but they might need to go litigate. They might need to go actually bring a lawsuit against somebody else. They might have a criminal charge stemming from a situation, and they'll have a Title V outcome where they're going to need to actually pay a discounted rate to the law firm. But if you don't set their expectations properly, they might feel that they were oversold or sold improperly or given a false bill of goods, and that will cause a cancellation. So under-promise and over-deliver. Believe me, if you just focus on Title I alone, there's enough value in that for them to want to have this membership for themselves. In addition to that, use bank draft when possible. See, it's easy when you're talking to somebody, when you're sitting down with them, or if they're going to your website. It's very easy to break out a credit card. And the reality is, yes, you can use a credit card. But there's a several percentage point difference in people that are actually using a savings account or a checking account draft versus a credit card. Why? Well, because credit cards expire. Or they might change credit card companies because they want to get a lower interest rate. Well, when the credit card expires, they change cards. If they don't notify Prepaid Legal, they can't continue the monthly draft. But people typically keep their savings or their checking account the same for much longer. So that's going to have an impact on your retention. Use bank draft as often as you possibly can. In addition to that, sell the product to your member that they can afford. A lot of times we talk about in our presentations a $35.95 membership, which is the $26 expanded plan with a $9.95 added on to it, which is $35.95. The average person in North America, they probably could actually afford that, and they see the value in it, and they're going to get that. But if you're talking to somebody who is really, really, really on hard times, they don't have any money. Or maybe you're talking to a college student that you don't want them making a decision at the end of the month or when they look at their credit card statement. Do I want to spend $36 a month for Prepaid Legal, or do I want to spend $36 for going out to a party? So you want to sell somebody the product that they can afford and that they will keep. You might say, well, I don't get as much commission. Well, would you rather get a little bit smaller commission and keep that customer on the service forever versus a big commission that they actually cancel in 2 months because they realize it's just not in their budget? So sell them what they can afford. Instead of the $26 plan, you might sell them the $17 standard plan. And if they can afford it, of course, add on the identity theft shield as well. Okay? In addition, you want to make sure that you tell the customer how the customer service line works. If they have a situation and they're not happy with the attorney, they're not happy with the advice, maybe they had a marital situation, they're thinking about getting a divorce, and they call the law firm, and the attorney basically shares with them what their rights are. Maybe they thought the attorney was a psychiatrist. Maybe they expected the attorney to give them this magical dust that was going to sprinkle on their marriage and fix their marriage, and they were disappointed in it. You know, the reality is there might be some situations that occur from time to time where the member was not exactly happy. Well, here's the thing. You want to encourage them to call you, okay, so you can help talk them through that situation, find out if they use a membership properly, if they actually have any recourse or remedy. But you also want to make sure they have the toll-free number to call customer service. The law firm can't make right a wrong if they don't know that the wrong occurred. So it's up to us as sales associates to let the customer know that here's a customer service line and here's how you make things right if anything should ever happen like that. In addition to that, the company has a report called your pre-cancel list or your pre-cancel report. And what happens is if somebody's credit card doesn't go through or if somebody's payment is not happening or maybe they called in to cancel, they actually go on a pre-cancel report to let you know that the customer did not respond to the company trying to update their payment or resolve that situation. Well, what you want to do is on a regular basis. It could be once a month. It could be once a week. I encourage you to do it weekly. Every week, go into your back office and your associates only in your prepaidlegal.com website. Go to the tab that has resources and go down to the reports and actually pull up the pre-cancel report. If somebody's name is on there, pick up the phone and call that individual and find out if they knew that they were in pre-cancel, if they knew they were about to no longer have access to their rights, to their legal system, and make sure you help them get their payment in order so they can stay on the membership. Again, work that pre-cancel on a regular basis. Also, we have something called MAS, M-A-S, which basically stands for Member Advantage Services. And the great thing about what the company has done is they've collected, literally an entire department that actually their sole job, their one job is to make sure that they contact your new member when they join, and they make sure they get their kit, make sure they get their will done, make sure they're happy with the service, make sure they use the service. And if they ever actually go into pre-cancel, they will actually help pick up the phone and call and try to assist in keeping that membership on the books. Now, the only people that they're going to be able to call are the members that you as the associate chose to have MAS on. That's why what I chose when MAS was devised, I actually chose to have MAS on all my business. You have a choice between just doing your web applications or your paper applications or all your membership applications. I want MAS. I want the home office to call and help me retain every one of my customers. It's worth it. It's about a $6 charge one time deducted off your commission check. So instead of making $172 as a manager, you make $166. But it's way worth it if you can actually retain that member and get paid on them 20, 30, 40 years from now. So I encourage you to use MAS. In addition to that, there's simple things that you might have done in other businesses before, like maybe sending a thank you note to that new member. And what you can do with that thank you note is inside of it, insert a recent article about the foreclosure boom or about people losing their jobs and not knowing how to get a severance package negotiated, or maybe about identity theft. And just put a little note in there and say, check out this article. Aren't you happy that you were smart enough to get this protection with and the peace of mind with our prepaid legal membership? So those little thank you cards, I'm telling you, it goes a long way for somebody to appreciate the fact that you appreciate them. In addition to that, what I would encourage you to do is make the intangible product tangible. Because when you sit down and do a presentation and you show them what the services are all about, you have them fill out an application, you collect their payment, and you walk away, they basically gave you money and walked away with nothing in their hands. So make it tangible. I would encourage you to give them the In Their Own Words booklet, which has hundreds of testimonials of people who have actually used the membership so they can read the stories and see how other people have benefited by the membership and how it worked in their lives so they can relate it to what they're going to use it for in their lives. Again, it becomes tangible. Hypothetical or theory to actual reality. You can use a temporary membership kit. Temporary membership kit has their will worksheet. It's got the car decals that go in their car window to let police officers know that they're protected and have access to attorneys. And it's got their temporary membership card. It goes right in their wallet. So again, you can use the 101 Reasons brochure. I always want to use that because I want them to realize out of the 101 reasons that are listed on that brochure of how life situations where attorneys should be used, I usually tell them, hey, look, take this pen, take this brochure, and circle all the things that's happened in your life already. Just take 2 minutes to do that for me. I do this before my sit down or after my sit down, either way. If you do it before the sit down, it's even better because they can't tell you when you do the presentation about the membership. They can't tell you, oh, I've never needed an attorney, because they've already circled 18 or 20 or 30 different things that have already happened on that brochure in their lives. They just basically showed you 18 or 30 reasons why they needed a prepaid legal membership. It'll not only help you sell it, but it'll help you retain it. Again, this is all part of the retention process. In addition to that, have them put the law firm's telephone number right in their cell phone on speed dial under the word lawyer or under the word attorney. It's incredible. And I encourage the people that I tell them to do that. I say, look, put your phone number to your law firm on speed dial on your cell phone and go brag about it to your friends. Go tell your friends when you're out and having dinner. Say, hey, by the way, check this out. I got my own attorney now. Check, I got it right here on speed dial. That's going to be awesome because they're going to go out and create referrals for you. Okay. In addition to that, what some teams have done that's worked extremely well is they have a retention stand-down day, like one time a month. You don't do this all the time, but once a month, an entire team can decide, hey, this coming Monday, we're all going to spend 3 hours from noon to 3, for example, just going through our pre-cancel reports all simultaneously in unison and calling up anybody who's in pre-cancel and saving those memberships. I can tell you, Mark Smith, who's one of the top platinum executive directors of Millionaire Club members, he came from a background in the Navy. And if something ever happened in the Navy, something happened on the ship, there was an accident, something happened, everybody, it was called stand down. Everybody stand down, and then they go fix the problem. Once it's resolved, then everybody gets back to their duties again. Well, I encourage you to do that in your prepaid legal business. If everybody is doing that on a regular basis, imagine how many memberships you're going to keep on the books. In addition to that, be sure to make sure that you get your members' email legibly written or typed in on their paper or their online application from the get-go. Because the reality is if your member signs up for this service, they're paying for it in draft every single month, but they have no communication from Prepaid Legal, it's very easy for them to not know how to use the service, that they even have the service. So you want to make sure you have an active email address that's legibly written so that the home office can communicate with your member, again, helping with retention. We also want you to explain to your member how the actual legal services work and how the law firm network works, how they're going to call into that provider law firm, how the provider law firm was selected, how they'll handle it in-house, and if they can't handle it in-house because they don't have the specialty, the lawyer specializes in that particular area of law, or maybe it's geographic sensitive, that somebody across the entire state has an issue, maybe they'll refer it out to a referral attorney in their network that is working in that area or works in that area of law. So you want to explain to people how the services will actually work for them and why it is, because of this network, by the way our model actually is set up, why they are a valued member. Why it is it's not their $26 a month, or it's not their $17 a month. It's collectively all the 17s or all the 26s in the entire state winds up paying many of these firms 6 figures a month, which means that they're treated individually as a 6-figure a month customer to that law firm. Also, I want to repeat this again because a lot of times we focus on Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV. But what you don't want to do is gloss over the Title V, because you might say, well, Title V, I don't want to focus that much on something they might have to pay for. They might not really want to buy the service at that point. Well, the reality is under-promise and over-deliver. If you let people know that they're going to get free consultation unlimited on anything, anytime, anywhere, guess what? They got their free consultation, but if they find out that they need a retainer to be able to handle a child custody battle or to help them file for bankruptcy, or they have a criminal case or a DWI or something like that, you want them to know how it's going to work and ask them up front, would you rather pay full price or would you rather pay a discount? Would you rather get a preferred member discount of 25% versus paying full price? If you frame it properly, they'll appreciate the fact that they've got all the access to all the benefits from all the different titles. Okay? I also have found that over the years, a lot of times people don't realize that they are already paying for multiple insurance payments every single month, not even knowing that if it ever came time to use one of those insurance policies, that they'll actually perform. Give you an example. I usually draw out a box. I draw out a box, and each of the 4 corners I put in the auto insurance, their health insurance, their home insurance, and their life insurance. And I ask people, how much are you paying a month, or how much do you think the average person pays a month for their auto insurance? And I write in their number, $200, let's say. I say, how much do you think the average person pays for health insurance? They pay, let's say, I don't know, $250. I say, how about insurance on their home? $50. How about life insurance? $50. I add it up, $200, $450, $550. And I say, look, you just basically told me that the average person is typically paying about $500, $550 a month for these insurances. Now, let me ask you a question. If you had an auto accident, and let's say the insurance company says they're going to pay $600 in damages, but it's really $900, who are you going to call? Or your health insurance. Your wife gives birth to a new little baby boy. And all of a sudden, the next day, the hospital says, all right, time to go. But your wife says, hey, look, I'm not ready to go yet. I need another day to stay here and recuperate. But you check with the insurance company comes back to the hospital and says, hey, look, we're not going to pay for another night's stay here, which is $1,000. Who are you going to call? Or your house burns down. The insurance company says they're going to pay $120,000 to rebuild, but you know it's going to cost you $160,000. Who are you going to call? Or have you ever heard anybody having a problem collecting on a life insurance policy? I mean, just about every time. Well, then I tell them, put prepaid legal, their legal plan, PPL, right in the middle of that box, and just put in 36. It's the cheapest out of any of the other four, or now the five. It's the cheapest out of them all. But it's actually the one thing, the enforcer of your insurance policies. It ensures that you're going to hold the feet to the fire of those insurance companies that you've been paying for thousands upon thousands of dollars a year, hoping and praying that when it comes time to use them, that they're going to perform. But now you don't have to hope and pray. You've got your team of attorneys. They're going to get your back. They're going to go to battle for you and make sure they perform what you expect of them. And here's what's incredible. If you explain that to a member, and then you ask the member at the end, hey, look, are you going to wake up tomorrow because you haven't used your auto insurance policy for 6 months or 12 months? You haven't had an accident. Are you going to ever wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to cancel my auto insurance? Or your house hasn't burned down for 20 years. Are you going to stop paying for that? You haven't died yet. You're going to stop paying for your life insurance? You haven't been sick in 6 months. Are you going to stop that? Well, why would you ever stop your legal plan? You won't, will you? See, you just deliver that with posture, and you just lock that person in forever. In addition to that, we have something what we call a hole in our auto insurance policy. What do I mean by that? You didn't steal the car, you're not drinking and driving, you just happen to fall asleep behind the wheel or whatever the case is, and you have a tragic accident. If a life is lost and you were behind the wheel, 20 years ago they used to call that an accident, now they call it negligent homicide, vehicular manslaughter. And I don't know if you realize, if a life is lost, your insurance company severs from you, and it's up to you to pay for your own legal counsel. And that could be tens of thousands of dollars. The insurance company pays for the damages in the car and so forth, but you've got to come out of your own pocket to hire an attorney. Again, it could be tens of thousands of dollars, but Prepaid Legal jumps in and fills that hole, fills that gap, and they provide the legal representation through your membership throughout the entire trial process at no extra cost. So you've got access to a product that your insurance companies are not offering. They don't offer a legal rider to your auto insurance policy, but Prepaid Legal is actually going to fill that gap that can't be filled any other way. They're not going to ever be without their auto insurance policy. They should probably also not ever be without their legal plan that goes along with it to fill that gap from Prepaid Legal. Again, these are all great tips that have worked very well in helping you to retain those memberships. So the one last thing I want to remind everybody again is that we have that 101 Reasons brochure, that if you use it on the front end of your membership presentation to get them to see the value, or if you didn't do that, make sure at the end you leave them with that brochure. And I encourage you not just to give it to them, because they're just probably going to throw it away and not ever look at it. Ask them to take out the pen and take that brochure and circle anything that's already happened to this point in their life so far. And then when they're done doing that, count it up and say, look, you just actually told me that you have 24 things that has already happened so far in your life that you should have benefited by using a Prepaid Legal membership to help you with. And I'm sure you would agree that you're going to have many more things for the balance of your life that are going to occur. Never forget, use your Prepaid Legal membership. And if they use it, they will keep it. And if they keep it, your residual income stays intact. That's my points of retention tips, if you will, to apply to your Prepaid Legal business. Good luck, everybody, in building your long-term future.